One of the questions that I've gotten over and over again since announcing I was pregnant is what supplements am I taking and like what's my routine as a registered dietitian? And I think this is such a good question because there are literally so many supplements, like just like baby products, there's literally so many things that are marketed to moms or moms to be that we feel like we need. And I do take like, I'm looking at them right now. I think I take like 5 or 6 supplements total. So not a ton, but I do find value in every single one that I'm taking. So I'm going to go through all of them that I take in the morning, throughout the day, and then at nighttime, and why I'm taking them as a registered dietitian, and also why I chose the brands. None of this video is sponsored whatsoever. I do want to put the disclaimer out there that I have partnered with Ritual, which is the prenatal vitamin that I take in the past. The reason that I partner with them is because I've literally been taking Ritual since before I found out I was pregnant. I started taking a prenatal at the beginning of this year because Zach and I were not intending to get pregnant when we did. We're very happy that we did, but we were actually planning to get pregnant next year. And what I always recommend to my clients, whether they're coming off of birth control or they're trying to conceive, is starting a prenatal like 3, 6 months, even a year prior to starting to try to have a baby. So I am so glad that I started my prenatal early, like almost 2 years early, because one, I could tell that my body was completely depleted of a lot of those vitamins and minerals, which is what happens when you come off of hormonal birth control. I've been off of it for 3 years, which I can do an entirely different like long form content video of that and cycle tracking and all of those different things. I've been off of it for 3 years. I had so much post-birth control syndrome symptoms. I had acne. I lost a lot of hair. Like I was weak. There were so many different things that like I really struggled with when I came off of birth control. And what I know, being a dietitian and what I've like studied and learned about women's health, is the fact that if you're able to replenish some of those nutrient stores prior to coming off of birth control, that can be super beneficial for your body. Same thing goes with like increasing those nutrient stores prior to trying to conceive. And the reason that I said that I'm so happy that I like had those nutrient stores ready to go was because my first trimester rocked me. Like I was that girl that before I got pregnant, I was like, if I'm craving something sweet in the first trimester, like I'll just have oatmeal. Like that did not happen whatsoever. I ate to literally survive. And there was a lot of pizza, a lot of buttered noodles, a lot of donuts, a lot of things that were not exactly nutrient dense and not necessarily providing my baby with the nutrition that he needed. So I'm really glad that I had those nutrient stores from the prenatal built up. And then I'm also really glad that I was like taking a reputable prenatal throughout that first trimester before I was able to eat some more nutrient dense items again. But I just wanted to give that little disclaimer that I have worked with Ritual in the past because I love them. I utilize all of their products. I recommend them often, but none of this video is sponsored. These are all just products that I buy with my own money and use on a daily basis. I will tag it in the description, I think is what's on YouTube. I'll tag it in the description. I just buy it off of Amazon. It's like a little powder. It's teeny tiny. I actually dry scoop it. You can take the gym rat. What is that? How do you say that saying? I used to be like a massive gym rat girly where it was like protein powder and creatine and pre-workout and all of those things. And obviously like I used to dry scoop pre-workout. I don't do that, especially pregnant anymore, but I do dry scoop this because I just find that it's not that the flavor of it's bad. It's just easier for me to remember to take if I like dry scoop it after I eat breakfast. This I am taking for constipation. So originally my doctor recommended to take Colace, and I was taking that for like a couple of weeks, but it felt like every single time that I took the Colace, I just got bubble guts. Like my stomach hurt so bad. And luckily with this, because I thought magnesium citrate would kind of do the same thing to me, this has not done that at all. However, I did follow the recommendations on the bag. So they said to like slowly work your way up. You'll see if you buy this that the scoop is like teeny tiny, but it said to start with like 1/4 of the scoop, and that felt like absolutely nothing. However, I've slowly worked my way up to taking a full scoop every single morning, and I will say this has made a massive difference in my regularity. Definitely not to like the pre-pregnancy level that I was at, but it has helped significantly. And when it comes to like pregnancy constipation, one, the hormones are causing a lot of that. But then on top of that, it's also the fact that we're oftentimes taking iron in our prenatal, and iron can also constipate you even further. But iron is obviously crucial and something that you need to have when you're pregnant. So this is just like a way to get rid of the constipation that wasn't, because I've taken Miralax in the past and that does literally nothing for me. And my doctor told me that any magnesium citrate, and I looked for like a more reputable brand that had very high quality ingredients, but my doctor told me it was perfectly safe to substitute this instead of the Colace or Miralax if I felt that neither of those were working. And honestly, I didn't feel like either of those were working besides just giving me bubble guts. So this has been incredible. I will say magnesium citrate is not the type of magnesium that is going to help you relax. It's not the type that's going to help with leg cramps, and it's not the type that's going to help you sleep. So if you're buying some sort of like calming relaxation product that is touting that it's going to help you fall asleep, but you look at it and it has magnesium citrate in it as the primary form of magnesium, that is not meant to help you sleep and relax. That is meant to help accelerate your digestive system, essentially. You want magnesium glycinate, which is what I will get into because I do take that before bed as well. But this is what I take every single morning for constipation. Like I said, I just dry scoop it, but you could very easily mix it into some water. It's like a raspberry lemon flavor. It's very light. It's kind of bubbly a little bit, but have loved this as an option for constipation. And like I said, I've been taking it for like 2.5-ish weeks now, and it has worked wonders. The needed immune support. So I am pregnant during the winter, which is something that I was very nervous about because pregnancy always decreases your immune system anyways. Now, normally I'm not necessarily someone who's like on the immune supporting vitamin or supplement train because most of the time you can get the crucial vitamins and minerals that you need in order to support your body just from the food that you're eating if you're eating an overall pretty nutrient dense diet. However, just for the fact that I am pregnant and Zach also has an autoimmune disease, he has type 1 diabetes, both of us are at a higher risk of like getting sick, especially in the cold season. So I've been taking this since like November on a daily basis. I also dry scoop this most days. It's because if I don't dry scoop it, I just forget to take it. But when I do utilize it as more of like a mocktail, I'll mix a scoop of this with a raspberry rosé poppy. And then I almost said pape. I'll mix this with raspberry rose pape. Oh, raspberry rosé poppy. And then sometimes I'll throw in some tart cherry juice as well, especially if I'm drinking that within 30 to 60 minutes prior to going to sleep, because tart cherry juice has natural melatonin, so it can help you fall asleep faster, stay asleep longer. And if you don't know, pregnancy causes insomnia for a lot of people. I am luckily someone who hasn't had a ton of pregnancy insomnia, definitely experiencing it. It's definitely not horrible for me specifically. And I do think that some of the things that I'm doing in terms of like supplementation and nutrition are helping with that for sure. But I do like to mix this into like that little mocktail before bed. So I'm getting some immune boosting factors in there. I'm getting that extra tart cherry juice for some sleep, some antioxidants, polyphenols, basically just fighting off oxidative stress or like things that build up and can create chronic stress or inflammation in the body over time. That's the purpose of like antioxidants and polyphenols, is they go in and they fight those free radicals and those like stressful things in our body and help to decrease them. And then that raspberry rosé poppy just kind of adds some flavor, but you could also do sparkling water as well. The flavor on this is not bad at all. It just tastes like elderberry, which is the primary ingredient. There's elderberry, there's zinc, and then there's like a pre and probiotic combination. That's another reason that I have been taking this pretty consistently, because especially when I combined these two things together, that was when I really noticed like a significant difference in my regularity since dealing with constipation most of my pregnancy. So I will say that I do think this helps, because there have been stints where like I forget about taking it and I don't take it like I should. I definitely didn't take it on a daily basis for a little while. And I definitely noticed a massive difference in both kind of my energy levels and then also like the regularity component of it as well. So I believe that prebiotic and probiotic mixture also really, really helps with my overall digestion. So that's why I really like this product as well. Needed has a ton of different like pregnancy and prenatal options. I have only tried this one specifically, but I know a lot of people really love a lot of their other products too. But this is the only one that I have had and I really, really like it, and definitely will continue it throughout my pregnancy, not just through cold and flu season, because it does make me feel better and I do think it helps with my digestion. Prenatal combo that I take every single morning. So the Ritual Prenatal, and then I also take some additional choline as well. So the Ritual Prenatal does have choline already added into it, but it's only 55 milligrams. And what research and data shows is that getting a minimum of 300 to 500 milligrams per day as an expecting mom is really important for babies neural development. So basically like their brain, their nervous system, all of those different things. Obviously, we hear a lot about folate and that being incredibly important during pregnancy. And don't get me wrong, folate is incredibly important during pregnancy and should also be something that is most definitely in your prenatal. But choline is often overlooked as something that's incredibly valuable as well. So I only take one of these per day. The recommended dosage is 2 because this has 55 milligrams and then this has 550 for 2. So I get around 300 milligrams from this and from this because I know that I'm also getting choline in my diet. I have 2 to 3 eggs almost every single morning. Each egg has around 120 milligrams of choline. So another really big thing is making sure that you're getting in some of those foods that also contain choline as well. 27 milligrams per egg. So that's one of like the highest, and the choline is located in the yolk. So this does not count if you're only having egg whites. This is why I emphasize to a lot of women who are trying to conceive or women who are pregnant or just women in general that the yolks are incredibly important because they contain so many valuable nutrients, choline being one of them, but they also have the healthy fats. They also have a lot of B vitamins. The yolk is incredibly important, so don't nix the yolk, especially if you are pregnant. Keep that in there. Not to mention that there's other things that you can do like salmon, chicken breast. So some of those more like protein options are also really great ways to get in some additional choline as well. Not to mention that salmon is also a really great source of omega-3 fatty acids, which is another thing that I really love about the Ritual Prenatal is the fact that it has the omega-3 fatty acids already in it. Omega-3 fats are a beneficial fat for not only moms, but also babies in terms of like the brain neural development once again. Plus they help to reduce inflammation in the body as well. Like even if you're not pregnant, I recommend omega-3s a lot because we don't necessarily get them from the food that we eat because you have to eat like salmon, walnuts, hemp seed, chia seed. A lot of us are eating those things like ever so often, but we're not necessarily eating them on a daily basis. So a lot of us are not getting nearly as many omega-3 vitamin or omega-3 fats as we need. So that is why I like to recommend either adding those in if you're not pregnant or getting a prenatal that already has them, because then it's just one less vitamin that you have to take in a day. Like I'm already taking quite a few things. I don't want to add another thing in there. So that's why I really like that this already has those omega-3 fatty acids in there, because then I can just take this and take the choline so that I have everything in one spot. This is also super, super gentle on the stomach. I did have to take a gummy for like a short stint of time during the first trimester, but that had nothing to do with the fact that like Ritual was hard on my stomach. It was more so the fact that like the act of swallowing a pill made me gag. So I did switch to a gummy for like a very short period of time. And then as soon as I could like swallow pills again and it wasn't making me sick and wasn't making me gag, I went right back to the Ritual. I also don't get any fishy burps from these. Sorry if that's gross, but a lot of omega-3s, because they're like fish, essentially like fish oil, they cause like a fishy burp, which especially in the first trimester is not beneficial whatsoever. But when you have acid reflux in the second and third trimester, it's also not helpful. I don't get that at all from these because these are lemon essenced. So if I do burp after taking them, it really just tastes like lemon, which I really like versus like having some sort of weird fishy burp. So the Ritual, Essential Prenatal, plus the choline, both really fantastic, great products that are also backed by science, which is another really big thing when it comes to like choosing a supplement. This is like my one midday, I guess you could say, supplement, because I do normally drink this with either my lunch or like as a little afternoon pick me up when I'm craving another coffee or like a little bevy, and I've already reached my caffeine intake limit for the morning because I have my coffee every single morning. So I do the Relight electrolytes. I also really like Element, and I also really like Drip Drop as another option. Relight we can get at our gym for like a slight discount. So this is the one that I have been going to most often. I'm out of my favorite flavor right now, the strawberry. I think it's strawberry lemonade, but it kind of reminds me of like a strawberry margarita flavor because it's like salty. This one is salty. Like, don't get me wrong, it definitely has that more, it's kind of similar to Element where it definitely has that more like salty taste to it. But this one has calcium, magnesium, chloride, sodium, and then also potassium. It also has coconut water powder in there as well, which can also help with hydration. Coconut water is a fantastic option for increasing your hydration. But when you are pregnant, your blood volume increases by about 50%. I think one of my most recent facts when I was like 18 or 19 weeks on my Bump app was the fact that I had already gained a pound in like blood volume which is absolutely insanity to me. And regulating your fluid intake and like the way that your body gets rid of fluid is incredibly important when you have an increased blood volume to avoid like extra high blood pressures. So making sure that you're having electrolytes is actually very helpful in pregnancy. I have also noticed that since adding in electrolytes, it helps with my frequent urination quite a bit. The reason for that is because electrolytes actually help us to absorb the water that we're drinking. If you're someone who's drinking like a bunch of water throughout the course of the day, like 80 ounces to 120 ounces, and you find that you're going to the bathroom like every 30 minutes, even if you're not pregnant, and especially if your urine is clear. We do not want to have completely clear urine. You want it to be like a light color. That means that you're actually absorbing the fluid in the water that you're taking in. And electrolytes can really help with that. Obviously, sodium and different things like that we do get from our food, especially if you're eating things that have higher sodium contents like frozen foods, or if you're adding a lot of salt to your food. I do salt my food, but I don't necessarily eat a lot of other things that are super, super high in sodium. This one has 810 milligrams of sodium per serving, which is significantly less than something like Element, which has like 1,000 or 2,000 milligrams. It has quite a bit, which is also why I like this, because if I do want to have like a scoop and a half, which I'll oftentimes do if I do like a bar class. My bar classes are heated, but they're only heated to like 82 to 84 degrees, which my doctor said is perfectly fine because we just don't want my body temperature getting up over 100. And if I feel that I'm getting too hot, I typically walk out of the room, but especially in the winter, I've never had to do that because I've always felt really good during those classes. But that's why I don't go to Sculpt anymore, because I do get way too hot in those classes. So on days where I'm doing like an extra sweaty workout or going to a bar class, I do typically do a scoop and a half of this, which that's why I also like it's a little bit lower on that sodium side of all of the things. Electrolytes are the calcium, magnesium, and potassium. 3 of the electrolytes that can be found in here are also really important for like muscle contractions. So having a sufficient amount of electrolytes can also help to reduce muscle or leg cramping. So if you're noticing like Charlie horses, restless leg, I've definitely noticed a decrease. Luckily, I have not had the Charlie horses yet, but I have had significant restless leg. Ever since I started doing the magnesium and then also adding this into my daily routine, I've noticed a significant reduction in that leg cramping. Not to mention that because this also helps with your actual hydration status, so like helps you to absorb that water, it can help with fluid retention and bloating later on in pregnancy. I luckily don't feel like I've quite experienced that yet. I'm around 22 weeks right now, and I know that that tends to pick up towards like 29, 30 plus weeks. So I will definitely be keeping this in my routine during that time. But those are all of the reasons that I do include electrolytes. And I did take electrolytes prior to pregnancy. And a lot of the reason that I took them prior to pregnancy was because I'm a sweaty girly. Like, I am not the girl that's going to a hot yoga Sculpt class and not sweating the entire time. Like, sometimes I sit next to girls and I'm like, how are you not like sweating, as I'm literally dripping and look like I took a shower? Like I said, I don't do those classes while pregnant. I can't wait for my first Sculpt class postpartum. I'm literally so excited, even though it's going to rock the shit out of me. I cannot wait for it. But I did take electrolytes before pregnancy for that reason, but those are all of the important reasons why it can be helpful during pregnancy. Nighttime is a pretty simple routine. This one's actually a prescription. So this is Diceglis. Diceglis is a combination of unison and B6, and it's an extended release form. It's also a lower dose than what you'll typically get in unison and B6 at like the grocery store if you were buying it. First trimester, I was so sick. I luckily didn't throw up that much, which I know when I say like I was so sick, people who do throw up a lot are like, okay, really? But especially as someone with emetophobia, which is like an extreme fear of vomiting, the debilitating nausea that I felt on a daily basis, to the point where like I was going to the bathroom and dry heaving multiple times a day, this actually saved my life. I basically told my doctor, like, I need to function. Like, I have to work. I have to go to things. Like, what can I do to like feel somewhat more like a human again? And so I got a Diceglis prescription at like, I want to say 8 or 9 weeks, because I was taking unison and B6 just from like the grocery store, and it was doing absolutely nothing for me. It really wasn't helping at all. And when I was getting the most sick was actually throughout the night. So like I was not feeling like, I was waking up and like basically laying in the bathroom a majority of the night. That was also not fun. And so the extended release, I take 2 of these after dinner, like typically closer to bedtime because it does have unison, so it does help me sleep. Has helped with the pregnancy insomnia. My doctor said that it was perfectly safe and healthy to take this throughout the entirety of my pregnancy if I want to. I tried to wean off of it around week like 17, and I went down to like 1 pill a day. And I felt so sick and nauseous and just like miserable again. So it's like, you know what? My doctor said that it's completely safe. We have a ton of research and data to show that it's safe. So I will probably take this a majority of my pregnancy, and it will definitely be one of the first things that I request in my next pregnancy. So if you are someone who is really struggling, you're in the first trimester trenches, ask your doctor about Diceglis. Sometimes insurances don't cover it because technically you can just buy Unison and B6. So luckily my insurance does, and I think it cost me like $10 a bottle. So it's very, very like cheap and budget friendly. So I definitely like, this has been an absolute game changer for me. And like I said, I take 2 of these every single night. I also think this has helped significantly with pregnancy insomnia. I do still wake up like 2 to 3-ish times a night. That's mostly because I have to pee. And also I'm starting to get like a little bit uncomfortable when I'm sleeping. But I think that this definitely helps me fall asleep and like stay asleep through the beginning half of the night, which is really nice. And then the other thing that I take is magnesium glycinate. So this is the magnesium that I was talking about at the beginning that more so helps to ignite that parasympathetic nervous system, or the part of the nervous system that helps you relax and recover. So I will take one of these capsules with my Diceglis like 30 to 60 minutes prior to going to sleep. I have noticed, because I did stop taking this for a while in the first trimester because I didn't know if it was safe. Then I asked my doctor and she said it was totally fine to take it. I took this one in. She said it was great. So I have been taking this every single night. And ever since I started taking this, I noticed that I do fall asleep a lot easier. So I also took magnesium glycinate. I don't really know exactly how to say it, but I also took this prior to pregnancy as well. But if you're trying to either increase your overall magnesium, like you went to the doctor, you got a blood test and you found out you were deficient, this is one of the most absorbable, one of the most easy on the stomach and the digestion. Like, it's not going to give you that same effect that a magnesium citrate is going to give you. And this is more so the one that is going to help with like leg cramps, restless leg, Charlie horses, and then relaxing the muscle contractions, relaxing the body in general. So like I said, magnesium glycinate 30 to 60 minutes before bed. This one is the Pure Encapsulations brand. I just get it on Amazon. I can tag that one in the description too, but another really great option as well. That, my friends, is my pregnancy supplement routine that I take on a daily basis, and that's everything. There are no other supplements that I take at all. Obviously, like just getting in proper nutrition, focusing on getting in enough fats, focusing on getting in enough protein and fiber. Obviously, I'm also eating carbs, but like protein and fats are 2 things that I've had to really like think about getting, especially when I had so many protein aversions in the first trimester and early second trimester. So definitely will do some like full day of eatings on YouTube as well, because I think it'd be really nice to talk through like the intuitive eating process, like kind of what I'm thinking about when I'm like making and choosing meals based on like hunger cues, fullness cues. Hi, baby. These are my first babies. We have Luigi and then Poppy's over there somewhere. You can see her little tail in the back. But hi, baby. Hi. They're getting restless because it's like negative degrees outside and they want to go on a WALK, but it's a little too chilly for all of us. We'll go later, okay? I know. But I will start sharing some like full day of eatings on YouTube as well, and like kind of how I walk through the intuitive eating process, what I'm eating, why I'm eating it, all of those different types of things, how I build and put meals and plates and snacks together and all of that good stuff. But let me know what other like pregnancy content you want to see from me, because I do like sharing about this. I think like when I've seen other people's pregnancy content, it's been super helpful for me as well as someone who is pregnant. So just let me know what you want me to see, what you want to see from me in terms of pregnancy. But this is the pregnancy supplement routine.